There comes a moment in every life, loud or silent, when the mirror stares back harder than you ever looked into it. A moment when the truth stops knocking and starts kicking down the door. A moment when your soul screams louder than your fear. And in that moment, you are faced with one simple decision: kill the excuse or kill the dream, because both can't live in the same body. Excuses are not small. They're not harmless. They're not innocent whispers. They're assassins of potential. They're dream killers dressed as reason. They sound like logic, they feel like comfort, but they leave behind a graveyard of could-have-beens. And if you don't silence them, they will bury your ambition 6 feet deep and leave a tombstone that reads, "Here lies a life that never got started." Look around you. Every extraordinary human, every titan, who built something out of nothing, had the same chance to cave as you do right now. They were broke. They were laughed at. They were rejected, dismissed, doubted, and ridiculed. But the difference wasn't talent. It wasn't luck. It wasn't timing. It was that they stopped negotiating with their excuses. Thomas Edison was told he was too stupid to learn anything. Walt Disney was fired because he lacked imagination. Colonel Sanders was rejected over 1,000 times before anyone tasted his recipe. And Henry Ford went broke 5 times before Ford became a name the world remembered. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They didn't wait for motivation. They acted because they believed more in the vision than in the voice that said, "Stop." That voice is in you too. You know it. It's the one that tells you it's too late. You're too tired. You don't have enough experience. It's not the right time. But listen closely. That voice isn't trying to protect you. It's trying to own you. Because excuses are parasites. They feed on fear, breed in delay, and multiply every time you hesitate. You were not born for safety. You were not built for comfort. You were forged for fire, the kind that burns through doubt and turns pressure into diamonds. But you have to choose it. No one's going to hand you discipline. No one's giving you belief. And no one is coming to rescue you from your own story. This is not about motivation. This is about a declaration. I will build the life. I will not bow to the excuse. Because the world doesn't care how you feel. It cares what you do with your time. You say you want success. But are you living in alignment with that statement? Are your actions matching your mouth? Because if not, then what you've got is a wish, not a commitment. Wishing is for the weak. Deciding is for the unstoppable. And right now, it's time to decide. Not tomorrow. Not when it's easier. Now. Because every excuse you feed today becomes a regret you live with tomorrow. You get one shot at this life. Build it.
You weren't born with excuses. You learned them. Somewhere between childhood and now, the world trained you to shrink. They told you to be realistic, to play it safe, to avoid disappointment by avoiding desire altogether. But the truth is, mediocrity was never your natural state. You were born hungry. Hungry to move, to climb, to break, to rebuild. Watch any child, you'll see the fire, the curiosity, the boldness, the refusal to accept no as final. But somewhere along the way, life hands you losses, pain, embarrassment, failure, and you start building walls, not out of stone, but out of stories. Stories like, I'm not smart enough. I don't have time. I wasn't born into the right family. I'll start when I'm ready. These aren't truths. They're armor made of lies. You wrap yourself in them thinking they'll protect you from rejection, from failure, from being seen trying and coming up short. But that armor, it also keeps out growth, keeps out progress, keeps out the very thing you say you want, freedom. You want freedom? Then stop making room for the excuse. Excuses are squatters in the mansion of your mind. And as long as they stay, there's no space for power. You have to evict them, ruthlessly, repeatedly, relentlessly. That means when your alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and your body screams, stay in bed, you remind yourself, Comfort never built an empire. When that business idea hits you and doubt whispers, "You're not ready," you respond with action, not questions. Because belief isn't built by thinking. It's built by moving. It's built every time you act while afraid. Every time you show up without applause. Every time you outwork the voice that says, "You can't." Listen, Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. Steve Jobs got fired from his own company. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television. They could have accepted those excuses as fact. But they didn't, because the greats don't argue for limitations. They outgrow them. You think they never doubted themselves? They did. They just didn't let doubt dictate their direction. And neither can you. Because your life, this one life, is a masterpiece waiting to be painted. And every day you hesitate. Every day you wait for permission. Every day you delay in fear. You're letting someone else's brush write your story. But that ends here. Right now, this moment is your line in the sand. You either stay on the side of excuses or you step across into execution. You either live as the victim of your habits or you rise as the architect of your destiny. And hear me clearly. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom wearing boots. It doesn't just build your life, it breaks your chains. Chains of procrastination. Chains of fear. Chains of small thinking. Discipline is the sword that slaughters your excuses, day by day, habit by habit, hour by hour. You don't need more information. You need a decision. You don't need to feel inspired. You need to move, to sweat, to build, to break, to try, to fail forward, to show life you're serious. Because until you do, life will never take you seriously. Every time you hesitate, the old version of you tightens its grip. That version, the one that settles, scrolls, procrastinates, waits for signs, blames others, blames the past, blames fate. That version is not your friend. It is your anchor, and it's heavy. But the truth is, that version can't survive inside a person who decides, not thinks, decides. You see, the universe does not respond to hesitation. It responds to certainty. It moves for the man or woman who says, "I don't know how, but I'm going anyway." It rearranges reality for the one who refuses to be denied. Not because of magic, but because of alignment when your thoughts, beliefs, and actions all speak the same language. And the language of success is this: I will not stop. I will not fold. I will not talk myself out of my own greatness. You want to know what's more dangerous than failure? Comfort with average. That slow, silent slide into mediocrity where dreams die not with a bang, but with a shrug. That's the real enemy. People think hell is fire and torture. But maybe hell is reaching the end of your life and meeting the person you could have been. The person with the courage, the discipline, the vision, the one who followed through. That person lives in you now, but you have to fight for them. You have to kill the version of you that keeps choosing later, because later is a drug. It numbs the pain of regret for now, but it always comes due. Listen, your dream doesn't care how tired you are. It doesn't care what your parents did or didn't do. It doesn't care that they left you, laughed at you, doubted you. Your dream cares about one thing. What are you willing to do about it? You can't build your life around wounds. You build it around will. And willpower is not some magical gift. It's a muscle. You train it every time you show up when you don't want to. Every time you do one more rep, make one more call, write one more page, speak one more truth. It grows inside the mundane, not the miraculous. Look at history's giants. They didn't rise from comfort. They rose from conflict. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election, failed in business, faced tragedy after tragedy, and still stood up to lead a divided nation, with nothing but purpose in his chest and steel in his spine. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison and walked out not bitter, but bolder, willing to unite a nation that tried to break him. They didn't wait for motivation. They didn't wait to feel like it. They built discipline into identity. So stop asking, how do I stay motivated? Start asking, who am I becoming when no one is watching? Because that's what builds the life. Not the noise, not the hype, not the inspiration porn on social media. It's the dark, cold, silent mornings when you rise anyway. And the climb only gets steeper. Because once you stop making excuses, there's no one left to blame. That's why most never start. Because once you take full ownership, no more alibis, no more scapegoats, no more waiting, then everything becomes your responsibility. Your future, your growth, your wealth, your energy, your identity, and responsibility scares the average. But to the uncommon, it's liberation. Because now, if it's on you, then you can change it. If it's yours, you can rebuild it. That's the trade. Kill the excuses and gain the power. Let me make this real for you. Every empire starts in silence. Every fortune is born in a mind first. Andrew Carnegie wasn't born with gold. He imagined steel cities before there were factories. He saw possibilities in his mind before anyone else saw them in the world. And then he got to work. No excuses. No entitlement. No waiting for help. Just vision crystallized into obsession. Obsession transformed into discipline. And discipline hammered into results. If you don't believe it's possible, then you've already lost. If you can't see it in your mind, you'll never hold it in your hand. So ask yourself, right now, what does your ideal life look like? Not the life they told you was safe. Not the life your friends are living. The one that makes your pulse quicken. The one that scares you a little because it's so big, so different, so alive. You have to see it. You have to feel it. You have to build it in your imagination. So clearly that reality has no choice but to follow. This is not spiritual fluff. This is how the mind works. Napoleon Hill didn't say, wish and grow rich. He said, think and grow rich. Thinking is not passive. Thinking is not daydreaming. It is focused, intentional. Creative force backed by desire, made real through action. And that's what this comes down to. Desire, not interest, not curiosity, but a white-hot, burning desire to change, to rise, to break the mold and claim the life you are meant to live. If the desire is weak, the excuses will win. But if your desire is strong enough, it will swallow every excuse whole. So fan the flames. Add fuel. Get angry at your wasted potential. Get sick of your own patterns. Get furious about all the time you gave to fear, doubt, laziness, distraction. And then channel it. Don't run from that energy. Harness it. That fire in your gut, that's your compass now. Let it melt every excuse you've ever told yourself. Let it consume your limits. Let it drive your feet into motion when your legs want to quit. Let it speak louder than your doubts, your critics, your failures. And when the world says, be realistic, you respond with, I wasn't born to blend in. I was born to build. So when the vision is clear, excuses start to lose their power. Because clarity cuts through chaos. A man with a mission doesn't have time to entertain distractions. A woman with purpose doesn't pause for permission. Vision turns I'll try into I must. It turns confusion into conviction. It's not about hoping to change. It's about becoming the kind of person who has no choice but to change. You want to stop quitting on yourself? Then stop setting vague goals and calling them dreams. Write it down. Define it. Name it. Feel it. See it in your sleep. See it when you sweat. See it until the vision becomes more familiar than your excuses. And once you see it, protect it. The world is noisy. It'll try to pull you in 1,000 directions. Social media will flash a highlight reel of other people's lives, make you question your own. Friends will tell you to chill, relax, you're doing too much. But they don't see what you see. They don't feel the hunger you feel. They didn't hear what your soul heard in the silence. That vision was assigned to you, not them. So don't expect applause. Don't wait for support. Sometimes the most powerful progress you'll ever make is in solitude. That's where greatness grows. Alone, in the early hours, in the grind, in the missed parties, in the unseen hours that the world will never celebrate, but that build the life others will admire later. Remember, people don't follow comfort, they follow conviction. And conviction comes from discipline repeated until identity is rewritten. That's how you kill excuses at the root. You don't negotiate with them. You outgrow them. You replace. I'm not disciplined with. I'm someone who doesn't skip the work. You replace. I'm not consistent with I move even when it's boring, even when it's hard. You replace. I'm not that type of person with I become what I decide to become. And yes, it will hurt. Yes, it will stretch you. Yes, you'll feel like quitting more times than you can count. But that's the point. Comfort doesn't create kings. Pressure does. You don't build resilience reading quotes. You build it on the battlefield when your excuses are screaming. And you show up anyway. One more rep. One more hour. One more sacrifice. One more step toward the life you said you'd build. Every single time you move forward, when it's easier to stop, you're digging the grave for your excuses. And when they're finally buried, you'll be standing in the middle of a life you once only dreamed about. But only if you do the one thing most never will. Decide, then act, then never stop. The truth is, if you want to kill the excuses, you're going to have to face the pain, not run from it, not avoid it, not numb it with distractions. Face it, because pain is not your enemy. It's the compass that points you toward your next evolution. Every version of you that's leveled up, it was born in discomfort, not in ease, not in praise, not in applause. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your standards. And your standards are born from your identity. What you believe about. Who you are when no one is watching. So if you keep saying, I'm just not that kind of person, then stop right there. Because that's the lie that's keeping you stuck. You're not born a winner. You're not born a loser. You're born a chooser. And every day through your habits, your thoughts, your words, your actions, you are casting a vote for the kind of person you will become. Your identity is not fixed. It's forged. It's built through repetition, through tiny, invisible choices that compound like interest. Wake up at 5 a.m. today? That's one vote for the disciplined version of you. Go to the gym when you're tired? One more vote. Stick to your budget when temptation hits? Another vote. And suddenly one day, you're no longer forcing it. You are it. You are the focused one. You are the disciplined one. You are the resilient one. Not because you hoped. Not because you journaled about it. Because you lived it. Every time you chose action over excuse, you carved a new identity into your bones. That's how legacies are built. Not through occasional bursts of effort, but through rituals, habits that become sacred. So ask yourself this right now. What are the rituals of the person you're trying to become? What time do they wake up? What do they do in the first hour of the day? How do they speak to themselves when no one's listening? What do they read, watch, fuel themselves with? How do they handle failure, fear, fatigue? You want to become them? Start acting like them before you feel like them. That's the secret. You move before you believe. You train before you trust. You act until you embody. And that's when momentum takes over. When excuses get drowned out by action. Because motion creates identity, and identity creates destiny. But momentum is fragile. It doesn't show up, it's summoned. And if you wait until you feel like it, you'll never catch it. Because the path doesn't care about your mood, it only responds to your moves. You don't need motivation. You need movement. Get up, move your body. Change your physiology. Shift your state before your mind has time to drag you back into weakness. That's how you build force. That's how you build power. Through rituals that hardwire success into your nervous system. Don't underestimate this. How you spend your morning is a vote for how you live your life. What you tolerate today becomes your reality tomorrow. So start demanding more of yourself, not from a place of shame, but from a place of respect. Because deep down, you know who you're meant to become. You've always known. That fire, it's not random. It's a signal. A glimpse into the future version of you that's already waiting. But you've got to meet them halfway. Not with hopes, but with habits. Not with excuses, but with execution. Now hear this. The enemy is not time. It's not money. It's not your past, your parents, your city, your circumstances. The real enemy is the belief that you're limited, that your current struggle defines your future potential, that what's been is all that can be. But let me burn this into your mind. You are not your failures. You are not your fears. You are not your excuses. You are the one who chooses what to do next. And next is all that matters. You can be broke, but not broken. You can be behind, but not bound. You can be exhausted, but not empty. Because inside, you is something eternal. A force, a flame, a seed of greatness that no failure, no critic, no excuse can ever destroy. But it can be ignored. And if you ignore it long enough, it withers into regret. So stop saying someday. There is no someday. There is only now and what you do with it. Every second is a seed. What are you planting today? Will you plant another excuse? Another distraction? Another day wasted in indecision? Or will you plant work? Will you plant focus? Will you plant a new story? One that doesn't end in almost. If only, or what if? Because you weren't given life to waste it drifting. You were born to build. And the bricks you build with are made of your decisions. Brick by brick, hour by hour, rep by rep, risk by risk. Yes, it's going to cost you. Success demands a price. But here's the question no one asks. What is the cost of your excuses? The money you never earned. The potential you never touched. The relationships you never repaired. The greatness you never activated. Excuses are cheap in the moment, but they carry the highest interest rate in the world. And the bill always comes due. You know this. You feel it when you're alone. You feel it in the silence. That itch in your soul, the knowing that you were made for more. That's not imagination. That's your higher self trying to wake you up. So wake up and rise. Rise not with hype, but with honor. Because this isn't about success anymore. This is about becoming someone you respect. Someone your younger self would be proud of. Someone your future self will thank. You are the builder. No one's coming to do it for you. There is no magic formula. There is no shortcut that skips the sweat. But the path is real. It starts when you kill the excuse and take full, brutal, radical ownership of your life. Not some of it, all of it, because that's what freedom demands. So now we've arrived at the edge. the edge of comfort, the edge of fear, the edge of everything you've ever known. And just beyond this edge is the life you've talked about, the one you dream about, the one you ache for but haven't fully claimed. But let me tell you something the world won't. You don't need more time. You don't need another sign. You don't need more motivation, more courses, more followers, more applause. You just need to cross the line between who you've been and who you are about to become. That line is drawn in blood, sweat, tears, discipline, belief. And most people, they stare at it. They analyze it. They walk right up to it. And then they retreat. Because on the other side of that line is work, sacrifice, isolation, effort with no guarantee. But there's something else there too. Freedom. Freedom from who they told you to be. Freedom from the voice that says, you're not enough. Freedom from the identity shaped by excuses, fear, laziness, and false comfort. So here's your moment. This is it. You're not waiting for life to hand you something anymore. You're not asking permission. You're not explaining yourself to people who wouldn't recognize greatness if it slapped them in the face. You're here to take the bricks of your pain, the weight of your past, the pressure of your potential, and build something with it. Something permanent, something undeniable, something new. Because when the dirt settles, when the excuses are dead and buried, when the world finally sees what you were busy building in silence, they'll call it talent. They'll call it luck. They'll call it fate. But you'll know it was discipline. It was vision. It was the day you looked your excuses in the face and said, not today. Not ever again. This is your time. Not someday. Not eventually. Now. Kill the excuses. Build the life. And never, ever look back.